Hey everyone, this is Chimy from Soundpaint, and today we are going to be looking at this incredible instrument that I have had the great fortune of spending the last few months with. It is the 505 String Machine, Synthesizer, and Bass Monster. 3 synths in one, and we're going to take a look at all of the feature sets and give you an idea of what you're getting in your Soundpaint library. So the first thing to note is there are functionally 3 instruments in one in the 505. You have a dedicated bass section. These have toggles that turn on different ranges, different timbres, and ultimately can toggle the effects section on or off. It is limited in range, so you'll only be getting the bass section in these 2 octaves here, which is a great thing about Soundpaint. That's going to be a limitation that is removed in the library. You should be able to play all of these bass timbres across the full range of the keyboard. But it's actually a really, really grisly sounding bass. I believe we're basically just dealing with saw waves kind of filtered down in different ways. The cello might be a square wave, but it's got a tremendous, tremendous warmth and low body to it that actually I was not expecting at all when I got into this. It's a really, really fun part, and I'll just say up front that we gave you all of the individual parts by themselves. So there are actually 37 core parts, and each of those are an individual toggle for a range, and we gave you all 3 effects as well for each toggle. So you are getting every sound possible that you would have if you were to buy one of these today for the much, much larger price point. But that's the bass section. If we move a little bit over to the right, you'll see we have a dedicated synthesizer section. And again, you might notice this if you're familiar with organ terminology, 16-foot, 8-foot, 4-foot. These are going to be your ranges. And the interesting thing about this synth is you can toggle ranges based on the keyboard splits. You can see lower and upper. That literally means if I turn this on, I'm now getting the 8-foot synthesizer range in both the lower and upper part of the keyboard. If I do it for 4-foot, similar situation there, but you're actually getting one paraphonic envelope, which means that it's going to trigger across all of the voices. So this is not truly polyphonic. Again, this is going to be an awesome limitation removed by Soundpaint. You'll be able to actually play a 505 polyphonically with its own individual envelopes. But a great sounding filter, totally classic Roland. And again, you do get a toggle for those 3 effects. The 3 effects are super versatile and will transport you back to the 70s. I mean, when we were listening back to these samples, the instant kind of nostalgia factor is super, super clear with this. You get 3 ensemble modes. Mode 1 is going to be more of a chorus. Mode 2 is going to be more of your classic string ensembles like you find in an Arpselina, 505, 202, etc. And 3 is a phaser. And it's really, really interesting to get the colors of these different ensemble modes in different sections. You can toggle them on or off for everything except the final section, which I suppose I'll talk to you now about, which is the string section. There is no toggle on or off. That's just going to be ensemble on all the time. But this is the string section here. You get a very simple fader between the 8-foot and the 4-foot range. You can mix the 2. You could go a little bit up to the higher range, and we did give you each of these parts. So you will get the 8-foot strings, the mix between 8 and 4, or in just the 4-foot strings as well across the full range of the keyboard and beyond with each ensemble mode. You are getting every element of this synth in Soundpaint, including the filter itself in our new CAF model. So you are absolutely getting this and more in terms of the library itself. In a lot of ways, it's more usable, more functional, and more capable than the original instrument while maintaining the spirit and vibe of this incredible, incredible synthesizer. Aside from the 37 core parts that you get, I also did an additional, I think I did 97, so an additional 60 parts of kind of pushing this thing to its max, giving you some keys parts, some brass parts, some arps even, and of course, a healthy amount of string-specific parts that kind of utilize all 3 of the sections at once. So you are getting all of the individual layers, which you have control over. You can even limit parts to their individual ranges using Soundpaint to kind of mimic what the 505 experience would be. but it's just such a rich and beautiful instrument. I think the character of this is nostalgia, is gonna transport you back to the 70s, and will give you every bit of warmth and charm that those records have when you listen back to them. So it's a really incredible instrument. It's relatively simple on the surface. I know there are 3 parts here, but each thing kind of is, you know, a very single lane part. But you can really push it to all these different limits. I mean, there's even a little bit of a pitch envelope situation over here that allows you to kind of auto bend pitch from the low end to the high end. You kind of set where you want it to bend from, how long you want it to take there. I integrated that into some of the patches too, and that's going to play really interesting with the Soundpaint engine. And of course, if you don't want that kind of sound, you have tools like the offset tool at your disposal to be able to kind of remove that and just get into the core of the sound. But there are so many little tips and tricks and just little things that I was finding as I was diving into this synthesizer that really make this thing absolutely capable, totally relevant in modern music production, as well as if you're going for that kind of old style, you know, 70s nostalgia factor. It can just do it all. And so I really had a joy getting to know this thing and getting to make these sounds for you. And I hope that you enjoy it too. And I can't wait to see what you do with it.
I've never heard anything so retro as this unit.
Right.
It's the most vintage sounding of all of them.
Yeah. And a lot of it's because of that ensemble section, like that phaser, the ensemble and the chorus. It's so quintessentially Roland, and this sound and string machines in general just defined an era, you know? And I think that it's really cool to use this in modern contexts, and also just explore the warmth, have it fortify other things as well. But it's just, there's a charm to it. You know, there's a charm and a little bit of a dustiness to it that just does not exist in, you know, certainly in any modern plug-in recreation or, you know, any modern synthesizer.
What does the ensemble button do?
So the ensembles, there are 3 modes. There's a chorus, which is mode 1, an ensemble, which is kind of supposed to amplify it like, or multiply it like a choir essentially, you know, doubling and phasing and all that stuff. It's a little bit of a vibrato as well. It's one of those sounds that's harder to describe than it is to actually identify, because it's just, this is the string machine sound. This ensemble is what you get with arps, the solinas, all that stuff. And then mode 3 is a phaser. So it's actually a really useful tool to have. There's also a trimmer on the back that makes the ensemble, whatever mode you've selected, darker or brighter. So it's like, it's got its own individual filter for just the effect, which is very cool.
I feel like there's certain machines, like we talked about in the Model D, the CS-80, the Junos, this thing as well, like some of the great ones just have that sound.
Yeah.
I think this has one of the strongest like sonic characters. Like I just immediately, oh, that's
there it is. Yeah, exactly. No, it's its own, I mean, you said it best, character, you know, like it is, the soul of this thing is so specific to like some of my favorite recordings from that era. And, you know, as I was diving into every part I create for Soundpaint, I'm trying to think about where can I use this sound? Like I'm thinking not about like, oh, let me try and use every bell and whistle on this thing. Though it's a vintage instrument, I kept thinking about modern utilizations for this character. And I think that as we're getting into this land of everybody in pop music trying to use more and more analog equipment, more and more analog synthesizers, it's really pushing sound designers and samplers to think about how you can use an old character in a modern context.
When you were sampling, what was the hardest challenge in terms of sampling it? Like what do you feel like the unit really gets like more complex?
Definitely the envelope. So the envelope is a single envelope. This is a paraphonic synthesizer. So with polyphonic synthesizers, every note you play, every voice has its own envelope that creates an action with the filter, with the amp. So basically how long the instrument sustains, all that stuff. There's an individual envelope for each note essentially that you play. On this instrument, it is one envelope for the whole thing. And there's a mode called second touch here, which basically re-triggers the envelope when you push additional keys to kind of mimic a polyphonic synthesizer, but it's not truly polyphonic. And so when you're playing and you want to just get into the weeds of it, a lot of times where you have your release set will cause, whether you have second touch on or off, will cause notes to kind of cross over and be in an envelope phase you don't want it to be. And so that is a severe limitation of this instrument, and it is a limitation that is removed in Soundpaint because we have all of the envelope motion in each note's recording. So it's gonna act like a polyphonic version of this. And then with our per voice filtering, that is also gonna be polyphonic if you wanna create your own individual string bass synthesizer patches with a truly polyphonic envelope.
I don't say this for selfish reasons, but I actually think I would take the software version over the hardware in this particular instance.
I would too. Oh, 100%. I have no desire to ever buy one. now having worked with it, I think it's one of the coolest sounding things, but what you're getting in Soundpaint is gonna be so much better. I'm telling you, there's absolutely nothing you can't do in Soundpaint that you can do on this instrument. It is because we've given you all of the core parts with all of the different ensemble toggles, and you have the filter, you have the instrument, and you have a better, more usable version of the instrument.
Faders and cool buttons aside,
yeah,
I think it's just such a beautiful instrument as well.
Right? Isn't
like
it?
I love that they had big buttons back then. Like,
I know. It's got this kind of mid-century modern look to it too. Like you could see this in a room like this, or something, like it just kind of fits in. And I think it's worth noting that this is like the nicest example I've ever seen of one of these. Like the condition's incredible. It was well taken care of. So, you are getting a really, really quality representation of this instrument. And as I said, it's in a better format than the instrument itself.
I remember the lady that I bought it from, she had it for decades, and it was really her treasure, and she apparently had really treated it with care, and I love that that carried on, that you felt it as well.
You can see it. I mean, this thing, like these wooden sides are the most, like, you always see them with just super chewed up peel, because it's not actually, it's just it's a laminate,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And so you always see it peeled up and gouges, and you look at these and it's like, aside from a couple little things here and there, it's like, yeah, this you could have told me this was made 10 years ago and I would have believed you. So, I think definitely the care is evident in this thing, and it's just, it's been in great shape, and super. So really excited to have it.